personally, I always got a kick out of John Zish's National Reading Day, where we'd read a Dr. Seuss book on the air. Like one year, we put him on the Cat in the Hat for the entire episode. So, and anytime I could make John look silly, I enjoyed those as well.
The school district's version of Reading Rainbow, huh?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Well, we might have aged ourselves a little bit on that one. I don't even know if any of our student TV production crew knows what Reading Rainbow is.
They better.
I don't see any head shaking,
no,
so I don't know.
shaking his head no out there.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the staple shows that we do now, because you have that consistency of people coming in that you work with, and you get a good foundation, built with them. But to see I really like to highlight the videos that students do, and I always tell, and I know that you tell your classes, if they work on something that the quality of it is good, I have no problem putting that on air, maybe even creating a show of just showcasing student work. One of the shows that I used or one of the video projects that you guys did, and this was after you had gone down to the high school already to be teaching, a couple of years ago you did a PSSA video.
Yeah, follow-up.
Yeah, and I quite enjoyed that Mr. Rummel was willing to play a role and play ball with that, and it was extremely well done, very creative, and I still use that to this day as a filler, because it's still very, I think it's still in line with what happens even now today in schools and with the tests that they have to take. So it's really quite enjoyable when they put out products that we can utilize too. Overall, what is your favorite part about this program?
For me, well, now as a teacher, just being able to see the journey that the kids make from, the first, and they all love me for this, I'm sure, the first few weeks of school, notes, notes, theory, test. And then getting them up here and seeing some of that stuff put into action, seeing how it's applied with what we can do in the building, to the broader stage of, the actual studio. So I enjoy basically seeing the growth that the students take. I love, and as I did before when I was in your current job, I love seeing them take ownership producing the show. I love it whenever you get a kid on a piece of equipment or a floor director or what have you, and they just step up and they own it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think from an administrative standpoint, I guess the further you up the food chain from a teacher to a principal to central office, the further you get away from the actual nuts and bolts of what happens in the classroom. It's good to hear what Don has said about his favorite part, because from an administrative standpoint, you have an idea and you like to see that idea not only come to fruition but continue to grow and get better. And from what I've seen over the last 10 years and what I've heard over the last 10 years, and Don supported that very nicely, you got kids involved, they're doing something they like, they're learning, and it's an opportunity for students to take a look at a potential profession to find out if that's what they want to do moving forward. So administratively, from idea to fruition is a good part.
And just to piggyback off that a little bit, every year there's bound to be maybe a kid or two that, I tried it out, it's not my thing. But also every year there's a couple kids like, I'm going to look into majoring this in college, and most of them do and end up thoroughly enjoying the field.
Hello, I'm Cindy McCrae, Director of Ark Manor Addiction Recovery Center. Ark Manor is committed to confidential quality services 24 hours a day, including fully licensed residential, partial hospital, and outpatient treatment programs. With 39 years of experience in addiction treatment, Ark Manor puts an emphasis on the needs of special populations including women, co-occurring disorders, and adolescents. For more information, call 724-548-7607 or 800-323-1333. Brought to you by the Armstrong Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like or what role I would play or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name is Megan Miller. I'm a fine arts major, and this is my university.
Vince McCurry, Executive Director of the Open Door. Worried, scared, confused, not sure where to turn for help? The Open Door, a behavioral health organization, has a full range of addiction counseling services and mental health crisis intervention services which may be able to help. Call 724-465-2605 or 1-877-333-2470. The Open Door, steps towards hope, courage, and recovery. Brought to you by the Armstrong, Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
One of the things that you do now with the TV2 kids is take them on that IUP field, the field trip to IUP, to tour all the facilities of the IUP campus for the multimedia part of it, for the comm media part of it. And obviously you go up to see Bill Hamilton, who does many different video projects for IUP. But the relation I was going to make, there's, this year when we were on that field trip, if you recall, we were in the one room and they were talking about the program that they do in there.
Right.
And there was a young lady sitting in there who I thought looked very, very familiar. And as we were talking more and more, and Education Today was mentioned, and Armstrong School District was mentioned, I could see this light bulb go off in her head, and it turned out she was one of the first students that I had after I came into the district. And there she was. She's preparing to graduate this spring, and is in the comm media department. Is very, very successful working in that department right now. And we could go on. There's a whole list of them that we could talk about that have gone on to do something related to communications media, and it's nice to see that what we're doing here is giving them a solid foundation for what they want to do with their lives, going forward. So now, Dawn, we mentioned already you were in this position. Now you're teaching the class. Can you compare and contrast the two jobs? Is there anything maybe you miss or like more between the two?
Well, I love teaching. I absolutely love it, and I've said this before. I don't know if Dr. Kerr, Dr. Garetano, anyone else much thought I would end up here when they first hired me 10 years ago. But I've considered teaching since I was a sophomore in high school. My fear on it was, what am I going to teach? And I had the misconception at the time, I'm going to be doing the same thing, 8 periods a day all day, and I've since learned that is not true in the least. So I absolutely love teaching. I loved this job too, running the studio. But like I said, my favorite part was working with the kids. And basically getting in to this position gave me the kind of preview I needed to realize just how much I enjoyed working with the kids. Because by far, that was my favorite part when I was a studio director. It was working with the kids, whether it be here or if one of the teachers needed me for something at the school, going down and helping them in their classes out. Just absolutely loved. There are a few things about the job that I miss. I mean, I'm still actively involved in freelance video and independent film, as you know. But there are certain things that I miss. I enjoyed basically just setting up the roster for Education Today. Very much enjoyed working with John Zish. I also enjoyed most of the extra things the district would have me do with community leaders like Ark Manor or Scott and Jesse or the state police or something like that. That was just like kind of like a neat little extra that was tossed in, which was fun to do the vast majority of the time. I liked being able to be in charge of my budget as well. And as a teacher, that is something that I do not get at all. But I did like being in charge of the budget. It was almost like a game for me to try to figure out, like, how am I going to make this work? Where's this going to go? And all of that kind of thing. But I absolutely love teaching. A couple of things I miss compared to teaching would be you live and die by the bell when you're a teacher. And that part of it was kind of nice. You know, if I had a headache or something, I could just go back in my office for 10 minutes and deal with my headache. If I have a headache now, I'm dealing with my headache with, 10 kids standing around me asking me 20 questions.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, when this program started, what were what was outlined in your minds? Like, what were the ultimate goals for this thing?
The ultimate goal was to provide an opportunity for students. Bottom line was, what can we do for students? And with that, the offshoots, then what can we not only provide for students as opportunities, but what can we provide to the community? And I look at those as the two major goals. And I believe we're able to successfully meet those goals because the broadcasting classes have increased throughout the district, as well as the show being aired at IUP and other cable opportunities, and getting out there to do various programs, as Dawn alluded to, earlier, whether it be with community leaders, whether it be, drug and alcohol concerns, those type of things. So those are the two major goals that I believe that we looked at early on.
And mine would echo Dr. Garetano as well. Student involvement.
Right.
I know designing the studio, it was designed to be used, basically.
Right.
And by the nature of our district, we couldn't put it in any one of the high schools because it wouldn't be fair to the other 3 schools. In addition to that, you need to find the room. And given that reality, I think that over time the studio has gotten its use. Like when I was here, and I know you've continued that as well, anytime a kid would like to come and work on something, they just get in touch with you and set that up directly, and they can come after school. There have been times when my principal has let us come up, for an afternoon or a day or something to work on something special that may be happening. Just getting the kids in here and using it, definitely.
Okay, now is there anything else that we may not have covered that you guys want to add for the benefit of the viewers at home?
I think if you look at the legacy of TV production in the district, it speaks for itself. It's been ongoing for 10 years. It's getting bigger and better. Moving into the new facility at the new high school, the updated equipment there. So there's a commitment not only from the administration and the school board, but a continued interest from the student. So I believe this is a program that's going to continue long into the future. And from an administrator who was there in its infancy, kind of makes me feel good that we're able to start a program that has continued because other people have seen value in it also.
Yeah, I think watching it grow, I know, and I'm speaking from Katanning because that's where I've gone to teach, and even before, I probably spent the majority of my time at Katanning with Mr. Ed Bauer. Katanning's first TV class had 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that because they called themselves the Fab Five. And now we have over 55 kids, and that speaks volumes, I think. Yep. To the point where it started at Katanning in terms of the satellite studio, it started basically in an oversized closet to where now it's in a room set off by itself with soundproofing. Started out with 1 screenplay, and now we got I think 7 Adobe Premiere editing stations, where it started with 1 camera. Now we have about 15 to 20 cameras that are much higher quality. I think that the students just keep grabbing onto it. And I think in terms of education today itself, I think just the fact that it's become a staple of the school district now. Like I said before, and I may remember this a little better than most, with the exception of Dr. Garetano, maybe Dr. Kerr, but there was some resistance. I mean, generally it was pretty well accepted, but there were pockets of resistance. Sure. And for that to have, for me personally, to see that not exist anymore, and that see that it hasn't existed for years, says to me just how accepted that it has become. And with education today itself as well, I know when John was still here, won some PR school district award. We had people from Pittsburgh Public Schools come down to look at what we were doing and how we were doing it. And as Dr. Garetano said, and as continues to happen now, just feedback over the 5 or 6 counties that it reaches. You know, administrators, teachers, things like that. Like I know, I now live in Cambria County, and there are people out that way that see it. I have a distant family member that watched me when they were in the hospital at Indiana Regional Medical Center. You know, they were flipping through channels, and it was one of the challenge shows a year or 2 ago where they're talking about English electives with myself and Miss Kidder.
Right.
And just the fact that people are watching it, find it neat. I know kids have told me over the years that, you know, people talking to them about, oh, I saw you host, or, you know, I saw your name in the credits and this and that. I think it's really neat for the kids, you know, I mean, and we have our fun with Education Today, obviously, but what I think has finally become completely accepted is it does provide a service. It provides a PR service for the school district as well as an outlet for community and school initiatives. But from my point of view as the teacher now, it gives the kids a chance to work on an actual show.
Right.
You know, they're working with professional grade equipment, they're running it. I'm looking out there right now and I see a couple kids on the cameras and in the control room and everything, and they're the ones doing it.
Right.
You know, and it's not that they're just doing it and it might get aired to their building or we might watch it in class. I mean, this is going out to literally tens, if not 100,000 people.
Right.
You know, that could potentially watch it, and I just think that's cool. You know, I did then and I still do now.
Yeah, that's one of the things I try to make sure that they're aware of. Like, you work on here, this is seen. It's going to have the potential to be seen by a lot of people, and I kind of get the same feedback that you do. I've gotten text messages before, hey, I saw your show on TV, or hey, I saw you hosting, or I've had students come to me and tell me the same thing. I think it's important to note right now that this is a TV1 class. This is their second visit down here to the studio, and they're generally about 10 weeks apart between their visits, and we felt comfortable enough that they're doing this show. They're directing it. They're in charge of it, and it's basically just them, because normally it would be one of us maybe directing it or something, but obviously we're out here today. So I think that's important, and they should be proud of that. And I guess the last thing I'll leave with is I told my wife the other day, I said, well, I guess we must have really hit the big time now, because it used to be if you went to the IUP channel or whatever, if you're flipping through the TV guide system, that IUP always said least access in our time slots. And now if you find it, it says Education Today.
Oh.
And even in the info button, it'll say Armstrong School District Educational Programming or something like that. So, we're in there. We're no longer least access. We are Education Today.
If I could just add one more thing, Chris. For me personally, the 4 years that I was here was all building the program. And my joke with you has been, I finally got it where I wanted, now I'm leaving.
Right.
But basically, I have been incredibly impressed with how you've handled it since I moved into teaching. I know Dr. Garetano said before about, it's nice, gratifying to be an administrator and see the idea and see it come to fruition. I might not be exaggerating if I said blood, sweat, and tears went in to those first couple years getting the studio and the program started, and you've done a wonderful job. So thank you for that, for keeping it going.
I appreciate it, but at the same time, and it goes back to the teachers too, getting the kids ready when they're up here. They know what they're doing. They generally pick up on what we're asking them to do here, and you do a nice job. It's you said when you were in this position, you really had 3 or 4 schools you had to be able to be at and help out with, and I'm more than willing and quite enjoy coming down to Catania to visit the students down there and yourself, but that's also one less school that I have to worry about with the technology problems, because you're already there and you know exactly what to do with it, and it takes a little bit of the burden off me, and I can focus a little bit more on some of the challenging things that we've gone through at Ford City and West Shamokin over the last couple of years, so I appreciate that as well. So, okay, well, I thank you guys very much for coming in today. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Armstrong School District's Education Today.